Is Newcastle United about to gamble their entire season on a 21-year-old striker who's barely played Premier League football? After watching Eddie Howe's latest press conference and analysing Osula's performance against Arsenal, we might be witnessing either the birth of Newcastle's next superstar or a recipe for disaster that could derail everything the Magpies have worked for. The truth? It's more complicated than anyone's willing to admit, and what Howe just revealed about his young Danish striker will shock you. What's up, TOON ARMY? Welcome back to Nufc Quick News, your go-to source for everything Newcastle United. The passion, the pride, and the black and white fight. I'm buzzing to dive into something that's got every Newcastle fan talking. And trust me, by the end of this video, you'll have a completely different perspective on what's really happening at St. James's Park right now. Now, before we get into the nitty-gritty, smash that subscribe button, because we've got some exclusive insights coming your way that you won't find anywhere else. And stick around until the end, because I've got a prediction about Osula's role this season that might just blow your mind. Let's talk about the elephant in the room, shall we? William Osula, a name that's gone from whispered potential in the academy corridors to front page headlines faster than you can say, "Howe the lads." And Eddie Howe, well, he's just delivered his most honest assessment yet about what he really thinks of our young Danish striker. Here's what's got everyone's attention. Callum Wilson has officially left Newcastle United after his contract expired in July 2025. Alexander Isak has handed in a transfer request and is being heavily courted by Liverpool and Al Hilal, and Newcastle haven't brought in a single forward this transfer window except for William Osula, who they signed from Sheffield United for $10 million plus add-ons in August 2024. That leaves us with William Osula, a 21-year-old Danish striker who scored his first goal for Newcastle in the FA Cup against Bromley in January 2025. But here's where it gets interesting. TOON ARMY. After Newcastle's pre-season clash with Arsenal in Singapore today, a thrilling match that ended 3-2 to the Gunners, but showed so much promise. Howe pulled no punches when asked about Osula's performance. And what he said next has completely changed how we should be looking at this situation. He's getting more minutes than maybe he would if we had more players in that position, Howe admitted with characteristic honesty. Now that might sound like a diplomatic way of saying, we're stuck with him, but dig deeper and there's a different story emerging. What do you think, TOON ARMY? Is this Howe being brutally realistic, or is there something more strategic at play here? Drop your thoughts in the comments because I want to hear what you're thinking. Howe continued. It's a great chance for him to showcase what he brings, what he's about. I thought today was a much better performance from him from the Celtic game. I thought he looked fitter and sharper, naturally through the work that we've done. Now, let's pause for a second. When Eddie Howe says someone looked fitter and sharper, that's not just manager speak. This is a man who transformed Newcastle from relegation candidates to Champions League contenders. When he sees improvement, he means it. But here's the reality check. Osula's performance against Arsenal today was actually impressive, playing 74 minutes and being one of only 2 Newcastle players to keep his place for the full second half. He caught the attention of Arsenal fans who praised his relentless attacking and admitted they were shocked by how well he performed. Even rival supporters were saying, Newcastle don't need a striker, just play Osula. That's quite different from the doom and gloom narrative, isn't it? However, and this is crucial, context is everything. This wasn't just any pre-season friendly. This was Singapore, with humidity that would make a fish sweat, against an Arsenal side that's been building their system for years. And Osula, He was leading the line in the absence of our unsettled star striker, showing exactly the kind of fight and determination that had Arsenal fans tweeting, "This Osula kid looks good," and "He's relentless." What struck me most about Howe's assessment wasn't what he said about the performance, but what he revealed about the player's mentality. His attitude was very good, and he looked hungry to get in the right positions to try and score. So, I thought he can be really pleased today. Attitude, hunger, position. These aren't technical terms. These are the fundamentals that separate good players from great ones. And if Howe is seeing these qualities in a 21-year-old who's essentially been thrown into the deep end, maybe we're looking at this all wrong. Are you starting to see the bigger picture here? TOON ARMY, let me know in the comments if you think Osula has what it takes. Here's what nobody's talking about. Newcastle's recruitment strategy has always been about finding diamonds in the rough, players with potential that bigger clubs have overlooked. Sound familiar? That's exactly what William Osula represents. The question isn't whether he's ready to be our main striker right now. It's whether he has the raw materials to become something special. And Howe's latest comments suggest he believes the answer is yes. Think about it. We've seen this manager work miracles with players who were written off by others. He turned Joelinton from a struggling striker into one of the Premier League's most effective midfielders. He's transformed our entire defensive mentality and made St. James's Park a fortress again. If anyone can unlock Osula's potential, it's Eddie Howe. But let's be real for a moment, because that's what we do here at NUFC Quick News. The pressure on this young man could become immense if the Isak situation doesn't resolve in our favour, potentially starting the season as Newcastle's primary attacking threat. When you've barely played top-flight football and our star striker is actively seeking a move, that's not just a challenge. That's climbing Everest in flip-flops. The stats actually tell a different story. Osula scored his first Newcastle goal in the FA Cup against Bromley in January 2025, then grabbed his first Premier League goal in April against Ipswich Town, with a header from a Kieran Trippier corner. Add to that, his impressive U21 Euros performances where he's been scoring for Denmark. And suddenly we're not looking at an untested prospect anymore. We're looking at a young striker who's already proving he can find the net when it matters. But here's my take, and you might not like it. What if this is exactly what Newcastle need? What if betting on youth, on hunger, on that raw desire to prove everyone wrong, is precisely the kind of move that separates us from the boring, predictable transfer strategies of other clubs? Osula isn't just fighting for a place in the team. He's fighting for his entire career. That kind of motivation can move mountains. And if Howe can channel that energy correctly, we might have stumbled onto something incredible. The manager's verdict after the Arsenal game wasn't just about one performance. When he said Osula looked hungry to get in the right positions, he was describing a player who understands his role, who's willing to work, who's not hiding from the challenge. That's not the description of a player who's been thrown in out of desperation. That's the description of someone who might just surprise us all. What's your prediction for Osula this season? TOON ARMY, breakout star, or overwhelming burden? The comments section is waiting for your hot takes. Now, here's something that might shock you. Maybe the real story isn't about Osula at all. Maybe it's about what this situation reveals about Newcastle's long-term strategy. Are we really struggling to find forwards? Or are we deliberately giving our young talents the chance to shine? Look at the evidence. We've got one of the best managers in the Premier League, a training facility that's second to none, and a fan base that will support any player who gives everything for the shirt. If you're a young striker looking to make your mark, is there anywhere better to do it than St. James's Park? Howe's honesty about Osula getting minutes Maybe he wouldn't if we had more players in that position. Isn't a weakness. It's an opportunity. And the fact that our manager can see improvement from game to game, can identify the mental attributes that matter most, suggests we're in safer hands than the doom merchants would have you believe. The bottom line, William Osula might not be the finished article yet, but under Eddie Howe's guidance, with the TOON Army behind him, he's got everything he needs to become something special. And if he does, if this gamble pays off and we're sitting here in 12 months, talking about our homegrown hero who conquered the Premier League, well, that's the kind of story that legends are made of. But I want to hear from you. What do you really think about Eddie Howe's honest assessment? Are you confident in Osula's ability to step up? Or do you think we need to dive into the transfer market before it's too late? That's all for today's deep dive into the William Osula situation. TOON Army. If this analysis got you thinking differently about our young striker, smash that like button and let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to hit subscribe and ring that notification bell, because we've got exclusive transfer updates coming this week that you absolutely cannot miss. Trust me, what we've uncovered about Newcastle's summer plans will have you questioning everything you thought you knew about our strategy. Until next time, stay proud, stay loud, and always keep the faith. Howe the lads!